Structural integrity is the ability of a structure to withstand its intended loading without failing due to fracture, deformation, or fatigue. Given the recent turn of events when it comes to preparing for natural disasters, we're all realizing how important it is to look for strength in the structure of your property or home.
Hi everyone, it's Gab again from Phil's Real Estate, where we aim to give you quality real estate, quality service. Today's video will be a little more different than the usual because we will be having a conversation about future-proofing our properties with the experts in the field. That means we'll be tackling on how we can prepare and anticipate for the future of our properties. And we can also find out varying methods on minimizing the effects of shocks and stresses of potential catastrophic events. Before we start, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to follow Phil's Real Estate on all our socials. Right now, we're here at the Solihia lobby of 32 Sanson by Rockwell, which is also located at the Sanson Road, Cebu City. And joining me for the first part of this video is the senior architect and collaborator of Atelier de Aurora. So since becoming a licensed architect in 2013, he immersed himself in the furniture and product design with projects in Japan and collaborating with design companies and manufacturers in the Philippines and Indonesia. So let us all welcome to the screen Architect Buddy Ong.
Hi, everyone.
Hi sir, how are you today?
It's a good day.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
having
for thank you so much for taking time to be here.
Sure,
We truly
sure.
appreciate it.
Sure.
Since our topic for today is about structural integrity, I'd like to know more about it in the design aspect. So how do you define it, Architect Buddy? What makes the design of a building structurally sound?
Okay, so it's basically very simple. So in terms of design, you just really have to think of how it will be built. So it all boils down to methodology, or how we put from ground up, whether be it a tall building or a small kiosk. So it all boils down to how will you build it. The next question is what materials you will use. So in our profession, you really have to be updated with all, the new materials, the new methodologies, because the more we learn, the more we are insured, the more we can use these kinds of materials or methodologies, because we could test out, but as we know, that's a big risk.
True, I agree. It's really important to plan everything out.
Yes.
So of course, because of the recent events, majority of us are now leaning more into how we can better improve the the design integrity of a property. And we know that there is a lot to think about, diba? But property-wise, do you think it's more important? What do you think is the most important aspect that we should focus on in a building or acquiring property?
So, talking about properties, the most important thing, let's say, with a structure or an infrastructure, is basically system. You look at it like your body.
Yes.
How does your whole system work? Because as we know, one part of the system falls down, the whole system falls. Looking at it as a system, the more we know, the more we can act.
It's more on what people don't see, right?
That's true.
People only see the aesthetic of a house, but there's actually more to that.
Yes, that's very true, because us as property owners, the first thing we have to really check is the house safe? Is the property safe? But how can we do that if we don't know where to check? In the aspect of design, it's our responsibility also when we turn over to the owners or the clients that they have an idea of how the system, how the body of the structure works.
Sustainability and even planning is really important. That's why we're doing this interview here at 32 Sanson. Phil's Real Estate actually toured the whole units and the facilities, and it's impressive that all the units and the buildings are still intact, given that the damage we see everywhere in the city. And the best part, Architect, is when all the power went out, 32 Sanson actually still had water and electricity because they had backup power and water available 24/7. It's so amazing. It's even like no big disaster happened at all, diba?
Yeah, I agree. Going into Sanson, it was really refreshing to see that all the trees are intact. Even the main facade, not so much
Super.
damage. So it's as if, like you said, no typhoon really passed by. So as an architect, knowing these things, that when after the typhoon, that Sanson literally rose up right away. When we talk about sustainability, it's not just like materials or methodology. It's when you know that the building can really literally stand even when we're cut off power, we're cut off water. That's really refreshing to see that there's bright spot in Cebu, deep down in Lahog, after seeing so much damage outside. So it's really nice to see that Sanson is okay.
I agree with everything you said, Architect. And as much as I still want to ask more questions, I believe that we're running out of time. So this would be the last. How can the viewers reach out to you?
Yes, you could reach us at Facebook, facebook.com/Atelier de Aurora, or at Instagram, it's at Atelier de Aurora. Or you could also reach us at our email, atelierdeaurora@gmail.com. So just send us a message and we can send you our folio, or we could just really talk about design.
Thank you so much, Architect, for sharing your knowledge with us, and thank you so much for taking time to be here. We
Thank you also.
truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
So for this next part, we are going to be talking to another senior partner and collaborator of Atelier Aurora. Other than his extensive architecture background, he also has an experience in production design. So happy to introduce to you Architect Kaloy Mapeso Uypuanco. Hi
guys.
sir, how are you doing?
Hello, thank you for inviting me here.
Yes, thank you so much for being here.
Of
also.
course.
So, how was your whole Bagyong Odette experience?
Literally, we transferred to a new house on December 15.
That was before or
That was before Odette. So we knew there was a typhoon coming. We knew it was strong, but you know, strong is very relative. So we prepared somehow, but the thing is, we weren't fully settled yet in the house. So as a family, we decided to we're just gonna camp out downstairs, because if ever there are debris that's gonna hit the windows, it's more hazardous. Odette was able to take out the fairing. That's if you see a roof, it's a flat roof. The sides, Odette was able to take out the sides. So water seeped in. So luckily we were downstairs because you know on the ceiling there was already waterfalls dripping. It was terrifying,
Truly
but
is.
we're still lucky than the others probably. But yeah, we were terrified, and so yeah, there you go.
I'm so happy that you are still safe and you're still with Atelier Aurora.
Yes, of course.
And I also want to know, how did you start your journey towards working with them?
Okay, so when I was practicing architecture, we already have our family firm. But then it was only me who was practicing in the family that was left practicing. So I decided to look for partners. Luckily, I stumbled upon Buddy, Architect Buddy, because we worked for a certain project because they also do furniture design. Atelier Aurora is a multidisciplinary design firm. They have different arms that goes with them. Like they do branding as well, and one of the stuff that they do is they do furniture design. I approached Buddy, and then it's like, hey, you guys want to? I want to be a partner. Do you want to partner with me? And then you know, we went into discussion. Then boom, it happened.
That's really good to hear. So, by the way, the central theme around our conversation today is going to be about the structural integrity. And I actually asked Architect Buddy the same thing earlier, and now I want to hear from your perspective. What do you think makes the design of a building structurally sound?
Okay, so to make it structurally sound, design-wise, you have to think about not just one calamity, because there are a lot.
Yes.
Right now we're talking about Typhoon Odette, post-typhoon, but there are earthquake as well. It all boils down to site selection first. To make the design work for the area, you must know first where it is. And then, you know, it trickles down to, okay, what materials you can use, how safe your building can be, how safe your structure can be, even if it's as small as a kiosk, you know what I mean?
Knowing your location is really important, no? So now, let's talk about future-proofing the properties. what advice can you give to potential homeowners and property owners that are watching right now so that they can better anticipate their properties for natural disasters?
Okay, so if you already know your location and what you can build on your location, next is probably the design.
The design.
So if you're building from ground up, let's say a residential, like a house. If you're building a house, first is of course the availability of materials that you can use and where your location is. Consider your roofing style. So with your roof pitches, it's better to have cuatro aguas or four-sided roof. With four-sided roof, it's more, let's say, aerodynamic. There's a lot of things that you can discuss in this matter, but roof is important. Now, if you are in a condominium unit, one thing that you have to consider is that your space should be airtight. If you have holes from outside, like the windows and stuff like that, make sure that you have guys coming in to seal it off. You can put sealant or whatever you can, however you can seal it, epoxy, but seal it off. You don't want it to go into a negative space, because once it goes to a negative space, it will really look for somewhere to go out.
One thing that I think our viewers would like to know is, for those looking to invest in their properties, what are specific points other than those you already said should they factor in to know that the building is really secure and safe?
Right. So if you're out buying properties, I'm talking about built structures like condominiums, or if there's an existing house already, you look into utilities. How prepared are you, or how prepared is the building in terms of backup power? Do they have generator? What is their generator? Is it gas fuel? Is it gas powered? Is it diesel powered? Is it solar powered? For power, electricity, try to see if there's solar. If there's solar power available, that also is a concern. Next is water. If there's a drinking water, where are they getting water? If it's pumped. So if it's pumped, consider if it's electric or if it's manual pump. Drainage system, you have to consider the drainage system. Your downspout, your gutters, how big they are, how wide they are, what's the water flow intake that it can handle, where the drainage is going, is there a street drainage on the street? Those things you have to consider as well. And then your trash, your trash for your water, your trash for your like kitchen. Where can you throw those afterwards? Is it near? Is it far? Is there somewhere you can dispose? I think those are the things that homeowners or potential buyers should see when they acquire or at least inquire a property for them to buy.
That's right. Thank you so much for giving us your thoughts and opinions, and for giving us tips on how to be prepared for a natural disasters like Bagyong Odette. And so I've learned so much, and I've learned a lot of things from you, and I hope you did as well. So thank you so much, Architect Kaloy.
Sure. Thank you. You're welcome.
See you again soon.
I hope so.
Now for this next part, we're bringing an instructor all the way from the University of San Jose Recoletos Civil Engineering Department. He is also a quantity surveying department team leader, a structural design consultant, and project management consultant who has been involved in bringing to life many projects and establishments we all know and go to. I'm very honored to introduce to you all Engineer Yuriy Sesican. Hi sir, how are you doing?
Good day.
Kamusta?
Okay la.
Maayo noon. So let's talk about the details. We found out that a lot of properties were not able to withstand the typhoon wind, no matter how secure and solid they are. So I wanted to know from an engineer's point of view, were the ones destroyed just unlucky, or is it a choice of material or brand?
Alright, so there are a lot of factors to consider. No, there are four main factors. Number one, the thing that you said about lucky or unlucky, it may also be a factor since we cannot control the flow of the wind. The wind is like a fluid. No, a fluid is, if you look at a river, there is a current, and then there are some parts where the flow is very turbulent. So if you are unlucky enough to be in that position, so you'll absorb a lot of wind force. So that's number one factor, the positioning. Number two factor is the shape of your building. Now there are shapes of the building that are really inherently attractive to wind force. Much like a kite, maybe the entire facade of the building is really facing the wind direction. And number 3, materials. Materials. There are really materials that are not appropriate for a particular construction. So it's really better to choose materials which are really recommended by the engineers. And lastly, it's about the workmanship. So when you say workmanship, your building has to go a lot of quality control and quality assurance. So I think those factors really affect why the typhoon has devastated so much the buildings or the structures in Cebu.
I see. So, looking around the city, I noticed that apart from building damages, there are also properties with glass windows and that are completely broken, and they're even swept away. So, why is that happening?
Glass is very brittle, and yet many people use it, because it's really a good material for aesthetics purposes. So that's what's happening. There is such a thing as ordinary glass and structural glass. So the thing that you saw, the glass that shattered, maybe they're not designed to be structural glass.
So ordinary glass.
Ordinary glass. They're using maybe ordinary glass. Or even if the glass is a structural glass, there are also chances wherein a large debris or maybe let's say wood or trunk of a tree will really go inside, hit the glass, and then of course no glass can withstand that kind of force. So sometimes it's really unlucky if your glass will be hit in that manner.
I agree. And from what we have experienced here in Cebu, there's one major problem during the aftermath of the typhoon, diba? So roofs were all flying and being swept away by the strong winds. Is there something that we can do with the execution? Like maybe instead of nails and screws, we could probably use some rivets for securing the roofs of the house? Or is there a better method? What do you think?
Number one reason is the anchorage and the fastener. Anchorage meaning how the roofing sheet is being anchored, the purlins, and how the purlins is being anchored to the truss, and how the truss is being anchored also to the columns, beams, and the entire structure.
So I just want to ask like a personal question. How about the roof of your house? How's your house? Is it okay?
Unfortunately, some problems, minor problems, but yeah, I'm trying to also...
Everyone was really affected by
including me.
Yeah, including an engineer.
Including the engineer's house.
Yes. So my next question would be, what do you think homeowners and property owners can do to prepare an incoming disaster? Like, for example, another catastrophic typhoon might hit the city. What advice can you? So,
first of all, they have to invest in well-built structures. And number two, they have to listen to the news. If you say 200 kph and category 5 typhoon, you really have to prepare, no? They learned their lesson. I learned my lesson. So, next time around, we should be more prepared.
We'll do better.
Yeah.
Engineer, I just have another question. For the future property owners out there, how can they involve themselves in the inspection process and still giving the trust to the contractors and the developers? So
the best thing that the owners or the end users will do is to really hire inspectors who are really capable and honest, and they must have integrity to be able to inspect the structure as honest as possible, and it should conform to all the specifications of the building plans. So the choice of professional is really very crucial in there. And then they may also inspect from time to time, because it's not good also that they will just be there at the start of the project and then at the end of the project they will be there and then have so many see so many defects or want to change everything. So that's not good in terms of cost and schedule. So there has to be a scheduled inspection, maybe in each of the milestones, maybe at the end of the structural works, and then before the installation of tiles, or as long as it's scheduled inspection.
Yeah, I think the scheduled inspection is also really good. So you don't really recommend our potential buyers to be aggressive about the building process and the micromanaging?
Yeah, because they might have miscommunication with the workers.
Oh yeah, true.
You know, the language of the construction industry is different, and then they might be so stressed, thinking that what are they doing? But actually, it's really acceptable in terms of the standards. So they need, when they inspect, I would suggest that they have to be accompanied by architect or engineer or any professional also doing the inspection.
So, engineer, if they want to contact you, how will they be able to do that?
Well, I'm a professor at the University of San Jose Recoletos, and of course, you can reach me there if you are really interested. If you're a young blood who's interested to enroll in the civil engineering program, then you can just go to USJR and enroll in the civil engineering program. Aside from that, I'm also a project manager on the side. I'm engaged in project management and structural design works. So if you want to have your building designed by me structurally, or if you want your building to be project managed, then I'm very open for that. You can just reach me in USJR. Look for me there.
Yes. Thank you so much, engineer.
Welcome.
This conversation has been very, very productive, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much. So that's it, everyone. I hope you were all able to learn a thing or two from this very informative conversation we had with architects Buddy and Kaloy and Engineer Yuriy. So if you want to see our list of properties that have all the qualities we talked about earlier, or if you would like to be part of our official listing, feel free to reach out to us on all our socials. You can also contact us using this number over here. And as always, your voice is very important to all of us. Let us know what you want us to talk about or explore in the next video. This is Gab from Phil's Real Estate, giving you quality real estate, quality service. See you in the next video. Take care and stay safe, everyone.